I'll talk about this parts per million. Parts per million, ppm, means 1 in 1 million. So there are so many equivalent of this. This ppm is equivalent to milligram per liter. Is equivalent to milligram per liter. So here is question 1. We are asked to determine the amount of calcium in a sample of table water. Now this is what happens. To determine the amount of calcium in a sample of table water, an excess of oxalic acid was added to 400 ml of the water sample. So let me just illustrate this. So this is our table water. This is our table water. I want to know the calcium content of this table water. So for us to do that, an excess of oxalic acid. So this table water plus oxalic acid. This is the formula for what? Oxalic acid. Now, it was added to this table water. So when it was added to this water, and this water is what? 400 ml of water. Now we added oxalic acid. Then I said the precipitate formed was recovered. So that means after adding this, there was formation of what? A precipitate. So let us assume this is our what? Precipitate. And then this is the precipitate inside the water. So this is the where the water stops, and then this is the precipitate formed. So this is the PPT, and then this whole space is what? Water. So we have our PPT inside the water. Now the next thing they said, the precipitate formed was recovered and dried. That means they dried this. So now they had to filter, obtain the what? Filter towards obtain the PPT. Now you now dry PPT. Now when it was dried, it was now heated. They said dried and heated. It's because what is formed here is because we are reacting oxalic acid with water, and we are trying to determine the calcium content of this water. That means the interest is that we want to know the amount of calcium in this place. And now we are using oxalic acid, our precipitating agent. So remember what we said about the qualities of a good precipitating agent. It should be able to react selectively with our analyte. Now our analyte is calcium. That means the precipitating agent, which is oxalic acid, is going to react with what? The calcium ions in this water. So that's what is going to happen. And for it to react, that means it's going to form that complex, that insoluble complex, which is calcium oxalate. Because if calcium oxalate is going to be formed, it means that the calcium must have reacted with the oxalic acid. So that means this precipitate we are seeing here is what? Calcium oxalate. Now we filter the precipitate, and we filter the solution and obtain the precipitate. Then we now dry this calcium oxalate, and then we heat it to also dry. Now to get a constant weight of this calcium oxalate, we heated it. Remember we said also that our precipitate should be stable or be converted to a stable compound. Now because calcium oxalate is unstable, so when you heat, it's going to form calcium oxide, and this calcium oxide is the constant mass that was formed. So you see, it was recovered, dried, and heated to a constant mass, and 0.14 gram of the solid was left. So this is what was formed, 0.14 gram. So this is the solid formed. Now they asked us, what is the concentration of the calcium? What is the concentration of the calcium in the water sample? So we are asked to, from what we have left, determine the percentage or the concentration of what calcium in the water sample in parts per million. I'll talk about these parts per million. Parts per million, ppm, means 1 in 1 million. So there are so many equivalent of this. This ppm is equivalent to milligram per liter. Is equivalent to milligram per liter. So let's just stop here. There are other equivalents of it, but we are going to be working with milligram per liter. So it's the same equivalent, but now they're asking us for our answer in what? ppm, parts per million. So after solving, we'll convert the concentration to what? Parts per million. Now let us start solving. I believe you have understood what's happened in this reaction. So now let us now solve.
Hello everyone, I trust you found this lesson from Academy X helpful and insightful. This is just a glimpse of what we've prepared for you. Inside the full Academy X course, you get access to every lecture, solved examples, quizzes, and study resources you need to excel in this subject. To unlock a complete learning experience, simply click the link in the description below. Join us at Academy X, where we bridge the gap between knowing and truly understanding. See you inside the full course.